Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you all so much for watching with us on tonight on another Her Story on this amazing Friday evening on Bougie Girl Cyber Happy Hour. Welcome, everyone. My name is Miranda Chenault. Let me remove this. And I am the creator of Bougie Girl Cyber Happy Hour. And God has given me this platform in order to inspire and uplift and encourage women and men all over the world with by sharing stories of other people who have overcome some tremendous trials and tribulations. And tonight is no different. You know, we have an amazing woman of God with us on tonight. Her name is Reverend Valerie Pearson, and we are super excited to have her with us on Bougie Girl Cyber Happy Hour. So if this is your first time joining us, please tag and share and follow us. Invite your friends, share this out because we're about to have a great time on tonight. So let me introduce to you our guest on tonight, and her name is Reverend Valerie Pearson, and I'm just super excited to talk to her on tonight. She is a preacher, teacher, and author and founder of a remarkable woman ministry. Her life has been a journey guided by the Lord, and as she has traveled through time, she has learned many valuable lessons and gained wisdom that she has packed together to share with other women through a remarkable woman ministry. Through her ministry and book, A Remarkable Woman, Discovering the Authentic You, God has allowed many women to be transformed and to know who they are in Christ while loving their true authenticity. In February 2011, God led Reverend Pearson to take a tremendous leap of faith in pursuing her ministry full time. She formed a nonprofit entity, the Center for Remarkable Women Incorporated, with a mission to empower women and girls with the life's tools necessary to live enriched and abundant lives. This is a life dream for Reverend Pearson that she pursues with zeal and enthusiasm. Reverend Pearson earned a bachelor's degree of science in accounting from the University of Baltimore and has attended St. Mary's Seminary and Virginia Union University. She also has a certificate in church management from Villanova University. She received the Woman of the Year in Religious Service Award from Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Zeta Chapter. Through all that she does, Reverend Pearson seeks to empower, inspire, and encourage women all over the world who come in contact with her. So tonight, Bougie Girl Cyber Happy Hour audience, let's welcome Reverend Valerie Pearson. Hi, Reverend Pearson.
There. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing just fine this evening. I'm excited about being able to talk to you and all of your viewers tonight.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. And we're just super excited to delve into this. I'm looking forward to just learning more about your journey and the book and why you decided to write the book. So I'm just excited about it. So I wanted to first start off and ask you, how are you doing on tonight? How has everything been for you?
Everything has been pretty good. You know, things are different. Things are definitely different in 2020. But you learn to adjust, you learn to adapt. And, you know, God is good. God has been blessing me, continues to bless me. So things are just fine.
Oh, great. I'm so glad to hear that. You know, because when we talk about 2020, people have so many like negative things to say. Has God revealed anything to you or taught you anything new about yourself in 2020?
You know, I'm always learning, and God is always teaching me new things about me.
Right.
But this year, as I said, has been different. And I think the one thing that really sticks with me, because it's not something that's new, but what's in the forefront of my mind is that God is in control of, of everything. And more than ever, we have to trust him. I have to trust him. So,
Right.
for me, it's been, God, I trust you no matter what I'm seeing, no matter what I'm hearing, no matter what I'm feeling. I have to trust you because I can't figure this out. I certainly cannot. But I have to trust him. So even though it's not a new lesson, but it's something that is really in the forefront of my mind, it's just, being able to trust God more than ever.
That is so true. I mean, this has been a testing time for all of us. And so just learning to trust him is just really another level of faith that we
Yes.
can all learn to grow in. So, what are you grateful for right about now?
I keep from time to time something that I call a gratitude journal. And, sometimes what I try to do is before I go to bed at night to write down at least 5 things that I'm grateful for. Um, and some nights it's really easy, and some nights it is so hard. When there's a lot going on, it's hard. But right now in 2020, I'm thankful for life. I am so thankful for life. I'm thankful for my loved ones. I am grateful for having a job,
Right.
job in 2020. For having some time of self-reflection, for being able to do that. So I am grateful for all of those things and some.
That's awesome. So when I say the word 2021, what pops in your mind? Like if I say 2021, what comes to mind for you?
What comes to mind for me, 2021, to be honest, is change. It's the word change, because
Right.
I think that a lot of things have changed. And, sometimes people will say, well, I'll be glad when it goes back to normal. But I don't believe we're going to ever go back to normal, what your definition of normal may be. I
Right.
think a lot of things have changed and they won't go back. So I think 2021 is going to be full of change for all of us. And it's, learning to adapt, learning to adjust, looking for the silver lining in change, because it is there. And change can be hard for some people. It can be challenging, but in the end, I think change is good. So I'm looking forward to 2021, just like everybody else. But I do think it's going to be a year of change.
That's so awesome. And so what have you been excited about lately? Is there anything that you're doing or anything that's been going on around you that's made you a little excited right now?
Well, you know what I've learned? I've learned to be excited about simple things, just small
Right.
things. Well, and maybe they're small to me, but things like reading a book for enjoyment. You know,
Right.
so often in life, and I know, and I'm speaking about me personally, you get so bogged down with things,
Right.
you don't get a chance to do the things that you enjoy. I
Right.
can remember, well, now it's different, but before I couldn't remember a time where I read a book from cover to cover for enjoyment, not for Reverend Pearson, but for Valerie.
Right.
And I'm on my fifth book. So I'm really excited about that. So as you can tell, that excites me to be
Yeah.
able to simply read a book. And another thing that excites me, since you asked me, I'm going to share.
Please do. Yeah.
You know what? I'm excited about music. I love music. That's a part of who I am, the way I grew up. Now, I can't sing a lick. I have 2 left feet. I cannot dance. It's not pretty on the dance floor, but I love music. And
Yeah.
one day, and this was sometime last year. I'll tell you a quick story. I was in the supermarket, and I love all kinds of music, any
Right.
kind of music. I love supermarket music, when I'm in the market and they're playing the music,
Right.
the
Mhm.
system. Sometimes they play little tunes that you know the words to. And
Right.
so I was in the market and a lady was pushing a basket and she was just bouncing and kind of mouthing the words to the song. And
Mhm.
to be honest, I stopped in my tracks and I looked at her and I said, I missed that. I hadn't done that. And so it even makes me teary to think about. I hadn't been in that place in so long where I'm just kind of going through the supermarket
Right.
with the music system.
Right.
And so now I'm singing,
Yeah.
simple things that make me excited.
That is a beautiful story, and that is so awesome how the simple things, like you just said, the small things bring excitement to our life, and how we forget, like, wow, that used to make me happy. That brought me joy, and to start back doing those things again. So, are there any? So, you said you're on your fifth book. What book are you reading right now?
reading When the Crawdads Sing. That's what I'm reading right now, and it's a really, really good book. I like mysteries, courtroom drama. I love, so a page turner, and I can read them back to back to back. So I'm having a good time.
Oh, that's super fun, super fun. So, growing up, were you an avid reader, or was that something that you enjoyed?
Yes, I've always loved to read. And, I always tell the ladies when I have an audience of ladies that when I ran away as a little girl, I ran away. And I was on my way to the Enid Pratt Library with my suitcase that had all winter clothes in it in the summertime. But that's where I was on my way to because there were books there. And now my brother picked me up before I got there, but that's where I was on my way to. So I have always, always enjoyed reading.
Wow. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about your background. You just mentioned about you running away. So what led up to you wanting to do that? Like what was going on in your life at that time?
Oh, I was just probably 6 or 7 years old. So it could have been any little thing. Um,
Right.
Knowing me, not having my way or not getting my way would have sent me packing my bags and ready to go.
Okay.
That was probably it. But, I grew up in a loving home. I had awesome parents. I was blessed to have both my mother and my father. And I'm from a large family. There were 7 of us. And I was the youngest. I was the whoops baby. And I tell that they know my parents came from West Virginia. And when they moved here to Baltimore, my mother was 41, my father 43. So I think they were just excited about being in a new city. And guess, surprise, I'm here. So, it was a large family, but it was a loving family, Christian parents, Christian foundation. Going to church all of my life. I learned how to driving to Sunday school with my father. So it was a very, very loving home.
And that's so good. So I know you're now, did your background and your upbringing, shape you? I know you talked in your book, and we're going to talk about your book a little bit later, but you didn't have that confidence. You didn't feel like you were pretty enough. How was that growing up and dealing with that, growing up as a young girl?
Yeah. And, I think being the youngest, being, like there's a 7-year gap between my sister and I. And, I just ended up always feeling like the lost one or the last one, or, maybe the one that didn't get all of the attention. Now, that didn't make me, go to other things to find it, but yet for some reason I lost my confidence. I just didn't have it. I didn't feel that I was pretty enough. I do talk about being, the ugly duckling, and in my family. And brothers and sisters, they tease you, they love you, and it's all in fun. But sometimes that stuff sticks with you. And I just got teased and picked on a lot in school. In school was, it was not pretty, but it made me lose confidence in myself. And I've always been relatively quiet, but being even more quiet, I just didn't have that confidence, and I really lacked it. I didn't feel like I was good enough, that I was worthy enough, that I could do it. And
Right.
that stayed with me for a very, very.
So what was that moment or that thing that kind of got you out of that? Like, you know what? I'm tired of this, feeling like I'm not enough, or feeling like, I'm always last. What was that turning point for you?
Well, honestly, when I took the journey that I want to share with so many other women and have shared with other women, that was really the turning point for me, where my confidence and my courage started to grow. I started to realize that being pretty wasn't all about makeup, that I didn't have to look like somebody else, didn't have to be the same size, the same shape, have the same nose, the same eyes. But I started to realize that God created me the way that He did for a reason. He gave me everything, my eyes, my hips, my lips, all of that. And He said, it is good. And it was just me coming to realization of what God had really poured into me. So when I took this journey, I realized that I had to let go of some things that I had believed all of my life, that I had to face some experiences, some negative experiences that made me even less confident. So it was really the journey that was a major turning point for me, and I was the one. I've been in church all my life. I'm a church girl, but I was the one who always wanted to be in the back of the church. I never wanted to be up front. I never wanted to talk. I never wanted to, be a part of a group. I like being in the background. I'll work my behind off, but I just want to be in the background. But when, God said, nope, that's not where I want you. And I was like, okay, God, you got jokes, right? Because I can't stand up in front of people. I don't have that confidence, but God just showed me who He created me to be.
So is that your road that led to you being a pastor or a reverend? Is that the road that led you, that when God revealed, like, you know what, I have more for you than just being in the background? Did you start preaching soon after that, or how did that progression happen?
You know what? Honestly, I was preaching before that. I was actually a minister before, but I wasn't working the way that I believe God wanted me to. I still lacked that confidence. And I share that with, ministers that I meet along the way, because sometimes you're in ministry, but you feel like I can, and other people do it this way. I got to do it the same way. But even as a minister, even with the collar on, I still lack the confidence that God really wanted me to have to do the assignment that He wanted me to do. So, but it was when I was a minister that I took that journey. And again, God just did miraculous things in my life.
So what challenges have you had as being a minister, as a woman, as an African-American woman? I know certain, denominations frowned upon that. Women need to be in the background. So what challenges have you faced,
Well,
if any?
challenges. Yeah, oh yes, there were none, but there are, and I thought that was a great question that you sent me, and I jotted a few things down. But, the challenges for women in ministry are many. I don't know if women pastors and ministers are comfortable talking about them, but I'm at a point in my life where I am comfortable talking about those challenges. And the first one that I jotted down is, life in the spotlight. Life in the spotlight can be very, very challenging. I came from a large church, and there I was the assistant to the pastor. So that spotlight, just being in the limelight all the time, 24/7, is weighty. And again, I'm being honest. I don't know another way to be, but it's different for men and for women. Now, people may not agree with me, but the fact of the matter is that's the truth. It is different. So because there are things that, and I'm going to say it,
Yes.
that male pastors can get away with, that as a female pastor, you just can't do it. I mean, you just cannot. And
For example,
you would ask me an example.
I know, I want to know.
I'm gonna give you one. I have been through, and again, I'm being honest, through 2 divorces. I've been married twice, and I've been divorced twice. The hardest thing in the world for me to do was to go through a divorce while I'm standing in the pulpit preaching, because people sometimes they don't say it, but you can I mean you they are different toward you, or sometimes they drop little things that I just don't feel would have been said, would have been done if I had been a man. So that's just one thing that's different. But that spotlight is weighty, and another challenge as a female pastor is friendships, is finding authentic friendships, and especially with other females. It is fierce competition out there among female ministers and pastors. And, that may not be true for all of them, but it's true for a lot of them. And, I mean, it's just so hard to really discern who your real friends are, and if they just want something from you, or if they really want to be a friend of Valerie. I listened last week to your guest last week talk about friendship, and she was so on point with the motive that sometimes people will have just to get close to you. And my prayer, I always pray to God, I'll ask him to fine tune my spirit of discernment. But it makes your circle smaller and smaller and smaller. And, that's a challenge to sort through who's your friend and who's not your friend. So that's very challenging. It's another challenge is finances and ministry, just getting enough monies to do the work that that you feel God is calling you to do. So those are just some of the challenges of being a female in ministry.
You know what? I really am grateful that you were transparent and honest, and that's what this platform is all about. We want you to be open and honest, because there's women out there listening that need to hear, that I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one experiencing these things. So if you all are watching with us, we are speaking with Reverend Valerie Pearson on tonight, and she is telling us about her journey in ministry, and we're going to talk about her ministry of becoming a remarkable woman, her amazing book that's here. And you can reach out to her. Let me put her information up here right now on how you can get this amazing book. This is the name of the book here, or this is how you can get in touch with her, ValerieP22@gmail.com. And she has a remarkable book out called A Remarkable Woman, Discovering the Authentic You. And we're going to get into that right now. So we want you all to join the conversation, make comments. If you have anything that you want to add to this conversation, please do. And so we really appreciate all that are here. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for being with us. Yes, transparent conversations. It is indeed necessary, and it's helpful. Transparency is helpful because it helps in the healing process, especially when people need to know that I'm not in this alone. So as far as the journey or your book, your writing is so eloquent, and you talk about, things that we need to do in our journey. So tell us a little bit more about the book, and how can it help women who are, really needing to come into their authentic selves and who they are as women.
Right. Well, the book was written specifically for women, women who want to be true to who God created them to be. It takes you on a journey to become that woman that God created you to be. Sometimes in life, we get so weighted down. We as women wear a lot of masks in life. Sometimes we don't even leave our house without one of our masks on that we wear. And we wear many that we don't even know who we are ourselves. So this journey is about becoming authentic, becoming the real you, becoming the you so that you can be comfortable in your own skin. That's what this journey is about. And, I am really committed to helping other women because I took the journey. It changed my life. I mean, if I could show you a before picture and an after picture, even my countenance is different. There was such a sadness in my eyes. And again, remember, I'm already a minister. I've been married once, maybe twice by then. But, there was such a sadness in my eyes. And it wasn't until I really took this journey and became the true me that God created, that I really started to feel happier and just enjoying life more. So it really is an awesome journey. And we go through, the book talks about certain segments of the journey that you have to take. We talk about being looking in the mirror. That's the first thing we have to do, is we have to face who we are today. We have to do some unpacking so that we can see what was in our past that really has created some negativity in our lives. We all carry a lot of baggage. You know that. You may not see it, but every time I walk out that door, every time I get in my car, every time I walk into my office, the baggage is there, and it impacts my relationships. It impacts how I feel about myself. It just impacts absolutely everything. So in that first unit, we're unpacking some things. We're looking in that mirror, looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some women don't even like themselves. So if you don't like you, how do you expect me to like you if you don't? So, part of what we do is, we start healing, peeling those layers back so that we can see who we are, naked and not ashamed. So that's one unit. And then we go into our relationships, because our relationships really do impact who we are. We've had some awesome relationships. And then we've also had some not so good relationships. So, being able to look at those relationships. Then we talk about boundaries, how to set boundaries. Many women have absolutely no boundaries at all, and we have to have them. They're important so that we can maintain a healthy life. And we talk about taking care of ourselves. Women don't take care of themselves. We take care of everybody else, but we do not take care of ourselves. When was the last time you did something good for you? So in that unit, we're talking about that. Then we talk about finances, because a lot of us have those nice, expensive designer bags, and there is absolutely no money in them. So, we look at our finances and talk about that. And then we talk about leadership, how to be a leader, no matter where we are, in your home, on your job. So those are the components of the journey that we take.
And it's so powerful and impactful. And I know you say that you would take each section, I believe, and spend about a month on them. So this is not an overnight a get rich quick scheme or whatever you want to call it. This is a process.
Right.
And you have to take your time. I know I wanted to point something out. I know you mentioned about friendships, and I know how important that is. And I've heard that said so many times by women in ministry that it's hard to find a genuine friend. And I know you said in your book that you said our friendships have a lot to do with, how we view ourselves. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yes, absolutely. We have different people in our lives, our friends, and friends sometimes feed you some things, whether it be true or false. So you have to be able to sort through those things that you hear from your friends. But what we all need is a real good girlfriend, a ride or die partner that we can tell anything and everything to. That's really what each of us needs in our lives. And for us as women, it is so hard to be friends and maintain friendships, and again, your guest, I'm gonna go back to her from last week, because I did listen, and she was right that sometimes as women, something can come up that will put a wedge between us. And rather than sitting down and talking about it and trying to figure it out so that we can keep going with the friendship, you'll stay mad forever, for the rest of your life, about something. And that really does impact you, because, you see that person and the feelings surface all over again. So the friendships that we have are really important. Your circle is really important. You want a circle where you can be your authentic self,
Right.
and my thing is I have circles, but some circles know Reverend Pearson, and then other circles know Valerie. Not that it's a whole lot different. I'm not, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but there's a level of freedom that maybe those in the Reverend Pearson circle just wouldn't know how to handle if they, came over to the Valerie circle. Not
Right.
completely different, but just a level of freedom.
Right. And do you find that as a reverend, you're in ministry, that people can't handle the real you, are not able to handle the woman that you really are? Like you said, who is Valerie? And people can't handle that.
No, you're absolutely correct. And as a matter of fact, when I was signing on to be with you this evening, and it says type in your name, it's like, do I want to put Reverend or do I want to put just Valerie Pearson? One thing I try to do is I usually do not introduce myself as Reverend Valerie Pearson, because the whole atmosphere changes the minute that you say Reverend. Because people, they want to prove to you how religious they are, how much Bible they know. And it's like, oh, I can't say that. You're a minister. If that's what you want to say, then you say it. I think that the judgment piece all of a sudden comes in. And, I understand that there's also a respect piece, and I understand that. But I just want you to be you. I want you to be you. That's what I want. And trying to date as a reverend, you say, oh, I'm Reverend Valerie Pearson. Oh my goodness.
Oh, no.
Get to know Valerie first, and you can know Reverend Pearson too in that, but just get to know Valerie and let me get to know you. And that's true of females and males.
So do you feel like, and since you brought it up, I'm going to expound on it a little bit. You talked about dating. So do you feel like men are intimidated or they can't be themselves? I mean, so even if it's just a man on the street or a pastor, do you feel like you need to date men that are Christians, or how does that work for you?
All right. How do I answer that? Um, I just want a man to be himself.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Right.
I have found, and I know I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but not everybody in church is there for the right reason. Not every, we think, oh, a Christian man and or a Christian woman, you have all these values, which may not necessarily be true. So all I want is to get to know you. That's all. You get to know me. And those values will come out in us getting to know each other. But just be you. That's all. Simply you.
I love that, because you're not having to put a stipulation on it. It's like, you know what, let's get to know each other and let's see where this goes. And I know that, like you said, the people put up their guard when they hear reverend or minister, they automatically put their guard up. Do you feel like men that try to court you, they do the same thing, or do you feel like they're intimidated?
Yeah, they do. They do put up guards, and they are a little bit intimidated. But it's look. You can tell I'm looking for the right words to say. For me, a man would have to know who he is and be strong. That's simply it. Because often in ministry, you're called to do a lot of things, and a man has to know who he is, know the relationship that we have, and then be comfortable with that. Because ministry can take you in a lot of different places.
Yes, that is so true. And just knowing that, you're willing to date someone, or you desire to date someone who's just being their authentic selves.
Right.
And I think that's unfortunate. Like you said, a lot of times people wear a mask, or they put on a front, and eventually you can't do that for too long. The real you is going to come out. So it's important for us to be our true selves.
Right. And I really would desire that young women are able to take this journey, because sometimes we get hooked up with a partner, and you don't even know who you are, and yet you're trying to get to know somebody else. And
Right.
sometimes that's a tough road. So at least if you know who you are, and you can go in, your hot buttons, what makes you tick, but you're trying to figure yourself out, you're trying to figure out somebody else, and that's tough. So at least get to a point where you are comfortable in your own skin before you try to hook up with somebody and live a happily ever after.
Right. And that is so important. Know who you are. Like you said, do you even love yourself? Do you even like yourself? You're expecting someone else to like you. I know you also talk about in the book, I'm not going to give too much away because I think you all need to go out and buy and purchase this book. And I will give you the information on the screen of how you can do so. It's such an amazing book. And like I said, I am going to be taking this journey myself. But you talk about the superwoman, and I know you had a quote in the book. You said the question for us to explore is this unit is how to retire the cape.
Yes, yes.
So that myth, especially with Black women, African American women, we're superwoman. Like you said earlier, we take care of everybody but ourselves. So just give us, you don't have to give it all away, but just give us a little brief about how can we retire that cape? What do we need to be doing?
One of the main things we have to do is we have to prioritize. And well, two things. We have to prioritize, but we also have to learn to say no. We have to learn to say no. No is okay. No is a complete sentence. A lot of times, as this superwoman myth, we have so much on our plate, but half of it, God didn't even intend for it to be there. The problem is we didn't know how to say no. Everybody runs to you. They know you're going to say yes. They know you're going to do it, and they go to you. So one of the things we have to do is we learn how to say no and know that that's okay. You don't even have to say no, I can't, because we always feel like we have to say because. No, I can't do that. That is an okay answer. So learning how to say no, but also learning how to prioritize things in our lives, looking at everything on our plate and saying, what do I absolutely have to do? What can I give to somebody else? What can I put off for later in life? And, that will really allow us to retire that cape so we can rest better at night. So we can go to the spa and enjoy that massage without our minds going a mile a minute.
Right.
I believe that God has so much out there for us, and some women are missing it because we have too much other stuff on our plate.
Right. That is so true. And that's so awesome that you talked about that, about being able to prioritize. And I know you talk about mental health, and I know that's part of that journey as far as, saying no, is also good for our mental health. And so few women talk about that. So few ministries talk about mental health. Why do you feel that this is important for us as women when we're going through this journey?
It's important because when you are looking to be that woman that God created you to be, when you're trying to connect dots in your life from your background, positive influences, negative influence, when you're trying to do all that, sometimes you get at an impasse. And often what women will do, they will just stay right there and stay stuck at that impasse rather than deal with what it is that's going to allow you to move beyond that. So I am a proponent of if you need help, then it's okay. As you said, as African American women, we just don't do that. We don't say, what, I need somebody to talk to. I need to talk it out. But in the journeys, when we're unpacking some of those negative experiences, sometimes we need help. And because I'm not a professional counselor, and taking a group of ladies through this, If they feel that they're at that point where, I can't help, the group can't help, then let's get some professional help. So I have some, counselors that I refer ladies to, but it is so important when we start to, when we get to that place where we need somebody to talk to. And even as pastors, as ministers, it's even more important that we have somebody to talk to. Being a pastor, being a minister can be awfully weighty because you're always trying to help other people, and you're often helping them through weighty things. And those weighty things also weigh on you. So we need someone to talk to. And, I tell anybody, I have an awesome counselor, and when I need her, I can call her. Not somebody that I go to every week or every month, but when I know when I need to make that telephone call and say, hey, I need to come in and talk to you. And she's right there. And we talk, and it's like, okay, I'll see you next time. But we need that. It's so important.
It is. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that about counseling, because I think there's like a big misconception that you're not trusting God if you need counseling. I'm a professional counselor, and I always say counselors need counseling. So
Yes.
I feel it's so important. And I even realized that journey for myself recently, like, you know what? I need to go to counseling. I need to speak to someone, because especially during this time when you're kind of like just going through the motions, like you said, we're not taking care of ourselves because we take care of everybody else. And so it's so important. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I believe that it's a very important tool for our well-being.
It really is. And especially, I think, in 2020, with everything that's going on between the
Right.
pandemic and, looking at this election, I'm a news junkie. So I am just, I have to make myself turn off CNN so I can
Right.
breathe a little bit. But, it can become weighty. And since we don't have our normal outlets, sometimes it's like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm just losing my mind. And it's okay to find someone to talk to.
That is so true. It is okay to find someone to talk to. Through your insurance if you need to. Get a
Absolutely.
referral and make sure you get the help that you need. Don't hold it all in, like Reverend Pearson was saying. So I wanted to ask you, this journey has so many layers. Like you talked about boundaries and finances and leadership. This is so awesome. I'm super excited to go through this journey. I can't wait to tell you all about it. But do you feel like this is a one-time journey, or do you think this is a lifelong process? Like we just we might have to go back and revisit some things. Do you feel like this is a process of, that we might need to go through a couple of times, or?
Absolutely. It is a process. That's a key word. It is a process. It's not overnight. And, honestly, it's not a journey to take alone. I would encourage even you, as you take the journey, to, find that one good girlfriend that you have and take the journey together. Because sometimes you get at those tough places and you need somebody there with you. But it is one that it's a lifelong journey. I have ladies that have been taking this journey since 2007. And, often they'll reach out and they'll say, Reverend Pearson, something happened and I got my book out, or I remembered something that we talked about in our groups and it really helped me. So the tools that you will get are lifelong tools. They're life tools. And it is something that you can go through again because, life will throw different things at you. Even in terms of unpacking some of the things that women carry in this invisible baggage, you can't go through it all at one time on one journey. You might decide to deal with grief. That might be the part of your first journey, but still you might have insecurity or loneliness in your baggage as well. And it's hard to deal with all of that. So it's a lifelong journey. And, every time you take a journey and you come out on the other side as you will, and you smile and rejoice and celebrate. And then you say, okay, God, what's next? What am I pulling out of my next?
That's awesome. And I know you talked about you have groups and women that are going through this as part of your ministry. So tell us what your ministry offers. I know you have a nonprofit. So what types of services do your organization offer to the community?
Okay, well, the Center for Remarkable Women is the nonprofit organization that I started even before 2011. The journey actually started within the church that I went to. I was a member of the New Psalmist Baptist Church, and it started there. But God said you can't keep it under this one roof. You have to take it out so that other women can be a part. So, and that's what I did, so that women from all churches, or even if you didn't belong to a church, you could come and be a part. So we've had ministries for seniors, which was simply amazing to me that seniors would even want to take the journey. But when I would go and meet with them and hear their stories, it was amazing that somebody 80, somebody 70 years old is still discovering who they are. So, seniors, we had a senior group. We also had a group for, we call them the young butterflies, the young girls, 9 to 17, taking the group. We also did anger management classes. So under the umbrella of the center, there were many, many components. Now, the center is on, I want to say, a hiatus at the moment as we try to, because, God said, I need you to reimagine the center, because with everything being the way that it is, and, the money flow, it's got very, very difficult. So we're on a hiatus right now in terms of like the young butterflies and the seniors. I still do take some, I have a group of women now that I'm taking through the journey. So, trying to reimagine it over Zoom. That's
Right.
what we're trying to figure out now, how to do it and give the ladies the same impact.
And that's so awesome that, God takes us on this journey of just creating new opportunities, creating new ways of doing ministry. And it just we're able to reach more people sometimes, because now women out of state can be a part of this movement in your class as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Mhm.
So what legacy do you want to leave with your ministry? Like, when someone remembers Reverend Valerie Pearson, what is a legacy that you want to leave?
I want them to say she helped me to be my authentic self, that she helped me and led me on the pathway to freedom, just to being free so that I could really live my best life. That's what I want women to say. On my tombstone, I want good to the last drop. That's what I want. And I want other women to experience that as well. When you want to uncover everything that God has for you, whether it's something big, like doing a ministry, a women's ministry, whatever ministry, pastoring, or if it's just your neighbor next door, because I think God has all sorts of gemstones for all of us. And we just have to find them and lift them up and twist the diamond and say, you know what, God, I want to do everything that you want me to do to the best of my ability, being my authentic self. So if another woman can say that, I'm good.
That is so beautiful, like you said, and I love that what you just said, good to the last drop. Every bit of you, every part of you, you want uh, to say that you would just continue your work and you did the best that you can throughout your life to help every woman to become their best selves.
Yeah.
And that is so awesome. So I want to go back to the book and ask another question. I know how important is it for us to work on these different components of our lives? Because some women kind of pick and choose what they want to do. Is it important? How important is this journey for the whole woman?
It really is a journey to wholeness. It's fine. We can't cherry pick our lives. Sometimes that's what we do. But we say, well, I just need to get my boundaries straight. Well, your boundary is really tied to your self-esteem. It's all connected. So if we just pick one part, we're really missing and we become unbalanced. I think that's the word that I really want to use. We're unbalanced when we do one thing over the other, or too much of one thing and less of another. So I believe that when we look at all of this, then we can become whole. Because there are more than one aspects to all of us. So we really have to dig and dive into all pieces of us. Some things we don't like to talk about, and when we talk about relationships and our relationship unit, we talk about being married and looking at that relationship, being single, what that's like. But even for married couples to sit down and have a wholesome conversation about sex, they don't like to talk about sex in church. They just don't do it. But, a lot of married couples have sexless marriages.
Right.
And, I'm not married right now, but I don't want that. I know ahead of time that that's what I want.
Right.
And it can be so very unhealthy for both persons in a marriage, but yet we won't talk about it. It's what's the putting a wedge in between us, but yet, in church, which would be a great place to talk about it, we don't want to talk about it. We come like it's all perfect and everything is wonderful, and it's really not. So that's part of the wholeness. We got to look at everything, because God created all of our senses, and we just can't leave anything without saying, okay, God, I need to work on this. Show me how.
Right. Give me the roadmap, give me the blueprint, show me how to do it. And I know your book, A Remarkable Woman Discovering the Authentic You, is part of that journey, that roadmap. So if you all don't have the book, please get it. I have it. Thank you so much for blessing me with this. It's such a blessing. I'm super excited to get started on this journey. And so I want to, as we begin to close, if you all have not been a part of this conversation, you're just now joining us, please go back and watch this broadcast. It has been a blessing to me, and I hope it has been a blessing to those who have been watching and who watched the replay, because this has been such an eye-opening conversation in regard to being who we are and taking the time to go through that process. It may not be pretty, but we have to go through it. And I know I wanted to talk about, you were awarded the Woman of the Year in the Religious Service Award by Zeta Phi Beta. Are you a part of the Divine Nine?
No, I'm not. I am not. But, any honor that I get is truly an honor to me, that somebody would take the time to acknowledge the work and to acknowledge me is really very humbling to me. And I'm still working on how I deal with that. That's tough for me, because it feels like, I'm doing what God wants me to do. So I appreciate the honor that they gave me, and it really meant a lot.
That's so awesome. So what are you working on now? Or is there anything that you're working on that we can look out for from Reverend Pearson?
Well, part of what I want to do next, my next chapter is, I'd like to do another book, but I would like to do a devotional. I've written so many, to be honest. We have a prayer group in the mornings on Wednesday morning, and I just write a little bit, talk a little bit, pray a little bit. And I've written many, most of all of them actually. So I'm looking to put those together in a book. So, and writing a book or putting something together like that is very time consuming. But since the center is on hiatus and I, don't have that piece of it at the moment, I really want to work on putting together that devotional. So that's in the next chapter for me. And also, I hope that in my next chapter we don't have to wear masks anymore. So
Right? Right. I think we all feel the same way, that claustrophobic feeling of this mask. So, what words of wisdom would you like to leave our audience before we close out on tonight?
I would like to share with
Words of encouragement.
yes, um, to be you and be true. That's what I'd like to leave with everyone. God created a wonderful person when He created each of us, when He created you and you and you. And that's who I believe God wants you to be. He wants you to step out in confidence, knowing that He created a gem, knowing that you are indeed beautiful, just being able to hug yourself and love on yourself. So be you and be true. You know, you don't have to be like somebody else, but, you know, shoulders back, head up, and say, you know, God loves me just the way that I am. So I just want to encourage everybody, just be your authentic self. Now, some people will say, oh, that's awesome. And others will say, I don't like her. As long as you are being the person that God created you to be, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Part of this journey is, your friendship circle may change a little bit, but that's okay. Be true to yourself. So be you and be true.
Such awesome words of wisdom. Be you and be true. And if they want to order your book, they can go to this your email, ValerieP22 @gmail.
Yes, and just send me an email and let me know that you're interested in the book, and I will certainly, I can certainly get that out to you. Yes.
Okay, and one last thing before we go. We always like to end the conversation by asking our guests, what makes you a bougie girl on tonight? You know, our platform is here to encourage and inspire and uplift. And the acronym for bougie is bold, one of a kind, unbothered, God's girl, intentional, and elegant. So does one of those words stand out to you as far as being bougie on tonight?
Bold is the word that stands out to me, and stands out for me, because I think that God is calling all of us to be bold. You have a voice. Every last person, you have a voice. Use your voice, be confident, and be bold.
That is so awesome. Thank you, Reverend Pearson, for being with us. Don't leave yet. We're going to say goodbye to everyone. And you all, thank you so much for joining us. And if you're not following this page, please subscribe to our YouTube, follow this page. And if you want to order the book, that is Reverend Pearson's information on the screen. Reach out to her because she wants to sign the book and she wants to send it to you. So this will be a great book to have, ladies. So please order this book on tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us on Bougie Girl Cyber Happy Hour. Have a blessed weekend. Be safe. It's still COVID out there. So wear your mask, social distance, and get some rest on this weekend. I love you all. Thank you so much for following this channel, and have a blessed weekend. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.